Irish media must have some of the worst coverage when it comes to cryptocurrency. Back in December, Prime Time, our main news and current affairs programme, covered cryptocurrencies, so I was expecting them to maybe do some sort of a decent job covering it, covering some of the bad, which there is plenty to talk about, but also covering some of the interesting stuff going on and interesting developments in technology. But let's have a look and see what we actually got.
Having a small number of people in the world accepting that this is true value and it's right will never create a situation where it'll last forever. Because it's not about a small number of people accepting I'm willing to share it between you and I. It's about everyone accepting that this is something that we can share amongst each other. And until they get that mass market, and they might, it'll never actually take off as something that will be mainstream.
So that was Owen McGee who was on talking first, and he is a certified financial planner. I actually like all of his work, and as you would expect for a financial planner, they have a fairly conservative view when it comes to investments, and I didn't expect anything less to him thinking that cryptocurrencies are just a bit too risky to invest in. So I was thinking, fair enough, they probably will have somebody that works in crypto or some sort of crypto expert on now to talk about some of the tech side of things. But instead, this is what we got.
Believe that cryptocurrency is going to be the future. It's a digital currency, digital energy, Bitcoin, and I think if I sell the car, take some money from it, invest it, long term, 5 years time, could be worth a lot more.
So basically what we were after getting there is, instead of having some sort of expert on to talk about maybe some of the positive side of things, they've pulled somebody in off the street who has sold their car and putting all of their money into Bitcoin. I actually couldn't believe it when I saw it. Let's look through some of the rest of it here now as well.
3 or 4 years ago, I invested into Bitcoin, Ethereum and Litecoin. I had some fear with the investment when the price changed, and I sold. Didn't make really any money, lost some money on it actually. But this time I thought, look, you got to buy in, keep it and hold it. So I decided to sell the car, take the money and pick 3 and invest.
After that, I was just hoping that they'd bring on somebody that would just talk about it at a little bit of a deeper level at least. But instead they go back to their favourite subject with cryptocurrency, and that is cybercrime.
Where people are being scammed is they are cloned websites, they're totally fake investments is what they're getting involved with. And victims are enticed, they're lured into this in kind of 3 different ways. One is they go searching online and they find a website which offers quick, big returns. They click on the website. A second way is to see a pop-up ad on social media and they click on the ad and it brings them to a website. And a third, more recent emerging trend is people on dating websites who are linked with a person on the website, and this person is offering them financial advice and investment advice, and that is how they're being lured into it.
If you were getting all of your financial advice on Tinder, then I don't think you should be investing.
Nobody can actually tell what's going to happen with cryptocurrencies, and because of that it is an exciting time to be around it. But what I would say is because nobody knows what's going to happen, make sure any exposure you have to it is no different than the exposure you would have if you went to the races or the dogs.
In fairness, the last piece of advice was fairly sensible. Like, of all these 16,800 cryptos, probably 99% of them are probably useless and never going to do anything. But that 1 to 5% of those projects in there have a real chance of making some significant impacts on our lives in the future. What I've found anyway, especially with the RTE coverage, it really is so basic and it just scratches the surface. Every so often they invite somebody on to talk about what Bitcoin is and explain why the price is going up and down, but they never go any further than that. I thought it was quite interesting today that Anthony Pompliano had a video talking about a Reddit post that was about RT news on crypto, so let's have a look at what they had to say.
major problem. But don't take my word for it. I saw this recent Reddit post from somebody in Ireland, a place that usually doesn't get that much coverage. And they explicitly called out this very problem. Here's what they said. I'm Irish, and not many people over here are familiar with cryptocurrency and the potential that it brings. I read this ignorant and tone-deaf article this morning, and I was probably displaying visible anger. Ireland, like many places, is suffering from inflation and rising housing prices. Comments such as, why would you swap your nice steady euros, left me perplexed. Are these people completely out of touch with the reality that the average person is living in? Nothing is mentioned about the long-term goal of these cryptocurrencies. I am well and truly flabbergasted that our national news provider would publish such an article. The real shame is that many in Ireland would only use RTE as their source of information, and this is the first thing that they would have read about crypto, and they will run a million miles away from it. Now, of course, the mainstream media, they may not be in touch with the average person.
So I went and found the Reddit post and then found the article that they were talking about to go and read it myself. So this is the article by Michael Dowling, which is headed up Worthless, Dubious and Great Ideas, a guide to cryptocurrencies. So I think it was this first section in the article which really pissed that guy off, which was he said that the money coins such as Bitcoin, Dogecoin and Ripple were completely worthless. I think he was just coming at it from the perspective of they won't ever be used as legal tender, and I would agree with him on that point. I don't think anybody would actually call these currencies that we plan on using day to day. This was probably the first RT article that I saw go a little bit deeper at least, and it even talked about DeFi and NFTs, privacy coins, and went on to talk about infrastructure coins such as Ethereum, Polkadot and Polygon. And he was at least in favour of smart contract platforms like Ethereum and also DEXs like Uniswap and PancakeSwap. So this was probably the deepest I've ever seen any coverage go, and at least it was a little bit balanced. But other than that, it's been nothing but cybercrime and scams. The economist David McWilliams, who I respect a lot, had a post in the Irish Times on the week gone by, just talking about cryptocurrency in terms of is it or is it not actually real money. Again, I would completely agree with him here, and I don't think anybody is actually talking about using Bitcoin as some alternative currency to the euro. He did briefly go on and talk about Ethereum and NFTs, and he says that NFTs at the moment are only have a bit of value because they're the only things you can actually really buy with cryptocurrencies at the moment. And that's not a terrible take. Crypto projects have a long way to go in terms of developing more and more use cases and the user experience and scaling them to millions of people. What I found with David McWilliams is, on his podcast especially, he obviously is just looking at it through an economist lens, and he's only really worried about are these currencies, are they not currencies, where that is only really a tip of the iceberg when it comes to what else is going on in the area. I wish he would get more interesting guests on his podcast that are actually involved in this space. Normally he just gets Max Kaiser on, that Bitcoin Maxi, who is a bit of a lunatic, and that conversation is just completely useless. Like, there's so many brilliant Irish people heavily involved in a lot of these really successful projects, but nobody is willing to talk to them. So I just wanted to make this video to see if I'm crazy or not. Is the Irish media coverage of cryptocurrency just completely useless, or is it all in my head? Have you seen any good coverage maybe that I have missed out on? Please let me know in the comment section. Maybe start a debate, copy a few links in. I would love to know if there's anybody out there who actually does some good work on it, and obviously prepare to support them and read their stuff rather than reading all of this shite. This was a bit of a departure from regular content, but I just needed to have a little bit of a rant. So I'll see you guys in the next one.